A lot of these big guys that have the Bugattis, the Lamborghinis and things like that, all they do is sell knowledge. Like Andrew Tate, for example. Let's say as a person, I want that. I want to know how they got a Bugatti, for example, how they got a Lamborghini. I'm like, okay, cool, let me learn from him.
And it's just crazy how they've been able to leverage a social media following to build a completely new brand and build it so quickly and make so much money.
Everything is sales. So like in the next 5 years, I feel like I would need to kind of sharpen my sales skills
100%.
as well.
Do you do anything to like keep on top of your mindset?
Trading properly is really your day-to-day habit. Wake up, is there a trade, first 15 minutes of London session, cool, there's nothing, you're done for the rest of the day. And then after that, you're not managing emotion for 8 hours a day, you're managing emotions for 15 minutes.
Hey guys, and welcome back. We are still here with Hamad and we are going to jump straight back into this conversation. So, where were we?
Where were we? I have no idea.
Right, I want to talk to you, continue about like the whole mindset thing. So obviously we were talking about the fact that obviously you're 18, your psychology and your experiences through trading affecting your psychology is probably going to be a lot different to someone like me who is nearly 10 years older than you, who has so many responsibilities, so many different hats to wear, and all you have to do is trade.
Literally.
It probably is very different. How do you think you manage your emotions when it comes to trading? Like, do you think that there is much managing emotions, or do you just kind of go with the flow? And
I feel like there is a certain element of manage your emotion, but I feel like when you get to a point where you can manage yourself and how you are as a trader, I feel like you don't have to actively think that I might do this or that might go wrong. Because it's like you identify a problem, cool, I overtrade, cool, I revenge trade, I do this, I do that, and then you start removing those, and when you don't, that's when you're not disciplined. So that's it.
Easy enough then.
Yeah, obviously there's going to be certain elements to you doing other things, but I feel like if you can just, like if trading is the only thing I do, it's going to be very easy for me to identify a problem and then fix that. Whereas if I had, let's say, maybe a job and then I'd also go to uni, for example, and I'd have other things, then I wouldn't like really care that much, if that makes sense.
So what are your like long-term plans? Like, do you want to be trading like for the foreseeable? Is this something that is like just kind of like a vehicle to get to somewhere else? Like, what are your future plans, if you have any? Because obviously you are still so young.
I feel like I don't want to be trading in the next 5 years or so. Maybe like as I get older and more mature, maybe that might change, but I don't want to continuously be trading. Okay. And that's just because of the stress it kind of has on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. Like on certain weeks or months or payout dates, you have no cash to like kind of, or no bread to just, just withdraw or whatever. So it's like, I feel like with that, there's no consistent income. Like for 3 months, you might make nothing. So I feel like that stress in itself, as I get older, it's going to be like, you know what I'm saying? What I want to do within the next 5 years is obviously continue to scale my trading and scale that to its max, because it has no cap potential. So for example, you're funded, let's say 200k, you can get funded 2 million, you can get funded 3 million with multiple firms and scale that. And through that, if you make 2-3% a month, that's like someone's yearly salary. So I wanted to scale that, and through obviously being a good trader at 18, we're on this podcast, and the reason I'm here is because I'm good at what I do. Okay.
Okay then.
But
he spoke.
No, but the reason I'm here is because I know somewhat of what I'm doing. So obviously then I can monetize this by going on social media, not selling a course or anything like that, but just growing my presence. And through doing that, if someone like really fucks with you, you sell rocks, you sell paper, for example, you sell. But all I'm trying to say is like if someone really likes you, they'll buy anything you sell. So like for example, Mads, let's say you've got like a huge following, for example, on Twitter, Instagram, etc. People really like what you do. If you start a clothing brand or just anything like that, people will just buy it because they like you. And it's like same with some other creators, they really like someone, they'll just buy it. So obviously I can monetize through social media, YouTube obviously, YouTube pays, TikTok pays, etc. Instagram also, you can monetize things. So I feel like trading, social media, and obviously we currently work with Equity Edge as well. So it's like I've already got things going on as well. So just continue doing what I'm doing and scale it, I guess.
Okay, so what do you think, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Like, what What does that look like for you?
I feel like in 5 years I would like have a business of some sort, but at the same time have social media presence. That might change, and maybe I don't want to be on socials or whatever, but obviously might be on socials. Hopefully have a big following, and then obviously you can sell something, monetize what you have, and obviously, yeah, maybe start my own firm. Who knows?
You know what? It's crazy. Like, talking to you just reminds me of how young you are, because it's crazy that obviously you're 18 and the way that you see yourself in 5 years is heavily involved with social media, which I think, like, thinking back to like 10 years ago when I was turning 18, social media wasn't that big of a thing. So like monetizing online wasn't such a huge thing back then. Like, it was a lot harder to do. But the way that the world is now and the way that we are in such a digital age, you just make me, like, you saying that just makes me realise how many opportunities there are out there. Like you say, because you're a trader, it's a lot easier to build that social media following. But then just because you're a trader and you've built it from trading doesn't mean that you have to stick to trading.
Yeah.
People will still buy into you for you as a person, like beyond just the trading. So in 5 years' time or 3 years down the line, if you decide that you're going to do something else, you already have that like loyal following, like you say, to be able to like do something else, and you already have a built customer base to be able to sell that new thing to. So it's crazy, like just realizing like how the world has changed and how many opportunities there are.
Yeah, even like a lot of people hate on selling knowledge, but a lot of these big guys that have the Bugattis, the Lamborghinis and things like that, all they do is sell knowledge. Obviously they have other businesses going on, but they sell on what they know. And because like let's say as a person, I want that. I want to know how the fuck they got a Bugatti, for example, how they got a Lamborghini. I'm like, okay, cool, let me learn from him. Some of them are scammers, but majority of the time, like some of the people who aren't, like Andrew Tate, for example, and obviously his brother, etc., they're not scammers. They know what they're doing. So like, there's someone I'd invest knowledge in with.
It's crazy. It really is crazy how the world has just completely changed. And even
It's only been 10 years.
That's what I mean. And literally, it's only been 10 years.
And in 10 years,
so imagine what it will look like in 5 years' time when
it's crazy.
when you're doing something different. But like, it makes me think of like people like the Sanua brothers, who do they started off in e-com, and now they have their own brand. Obviously, it's still e-com, still Shopify, but it's like their own brand. And it's just crazy how they've been able to leverage a social media following to build a completely new brand and build it so quickly and make so much money from it so quickly.
I feel like everything is sales. So like in the next 5 years, I feel like I would need to kind of sharpen my sales skills
100%.
as well. So it would be sales, continue to trade, and through you being good at sales, you then obviously a good marketer, and obviously you can then launch your own social media platform and then products and things like that. So I feel like everything is sales.
It is, and I think even building a social media following, in some way you are selling yourself to a customer base that you you want people to watch you and like believe you and listen to the things that you say. You're basically selling your brain, I guess, to those people. But it is, I think life in these days, it is based on how well you can sell. Whatever you're doing, whether it's business, trading, it's about how you can sell yourself or your product. So I think that is a very good point, that sales is definitely something that I think everyone should have some type of sales skill. Is there anything that you do outside of trading? Like, do you have any passions, hobbies, or anything that you do?
So football. Okay. I like watching football. I used to play football and running, gym here and there. I don't really do much outside of trading.
So basically you're just boring. I know we keep going back to mindset, but do you do anything like, I know you said previously about like you don't like wake up and go to the gym and go for a run and do a cold shower and all those kind of things. Do you do anything to like keep on top of your mindset?
Trading.
Trading
like that keeps you in check.
Really?
It literally does. I feel like you doing other tasks when trading is the one that kind of sorts all of that out for you. I feel like that's a really good question. We can cut the pauses out in there, but I feel like that is a really good question. But I think trading is what kind of keeps all of that in check. Because when you do something wrong, you can notice that when you're trading, when you go to obviously place a position, obviously your mindset's in check or whatever. When you go to, let's say, a revenge trade, if you lose a position or if you overtrade, you validate to yourself that this is a position I would take. I feel like over time you kind of realize these and come over them. So like trading properly is really your day-to-day habit. Wake up, is there a trade, first 15 minutes of London session, cool, there's nothing, you're done for the rest of the day. Like your work day, pretty much to do with trading, is done after 15 to 30 minutes. And then after that, you're not managing emotion for 8 hours a day, you're managing emotions for 15 minutes. Because if you come into London session, and for me, I'm looking for a break of structure to join London session. By 8:15, if there is no break of structures, I know that the rest of the day is probably going to consolidate. There's no positions for me. My trading day is done. On to the next day.
But that in itself is a high level of discipline.
Well, like at 18, I still wouldn't say that I still have like that high level of discipline, because I'm just showing up, doing what I'm meant to, and then dipping out. And then if I know, a lot of people, they start to lose when they trade for 8 hours a day. They start at 8 o'clock, and by 4 o'clock, they're sat on their bed rolling around, looking at the MT5, MT4, not taking it seriously. But when you know that your work day at 8:15 or 8:30 is done, unless you're in a position, because when I'm in a position, I'll sit and I'll watch. Because I need to see, like, for example, I trade base of break of structures, as I've said. If off my entry, a lower high or a higher low is not created, and there's not an immediate break of structure within 30 minutes of my entry, it's time for me to, kind of manage my position and maybe dip out the position and then go about my day. Because like, a lot of you guys enter positions, but when price stays around your entry for more than an hour, if your bias was right, would price have stayed in your area? Probably not. So if I'm in a position for more than like 3 15-minute candles, I'm probably wrong about the bias, so I just dip out the position. But it just depends on the context.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I do think that in itself is like a high level of discipline, because I think it is hard for a lot of people to just accept that they're done for the day and step away. I think for a lot of people, they'll be like, okay, I'll come back for like New York session, so I'll be back at like 1 p.m, 1:30, see if there's something else. Being able to just step away from the market and not look for extra positions when you know that you have a certain time frame that you need to trade in, that is a high level of discipline in itself, I think.
Yeah, again, the rules vary when I'm trading on an evaluation account or a funded account. So when I'm trading a funded account, then I will go and obviously follow the same rules onto New York. And it's just simply because on evaluations, like, do you get paid to pass them? Like, does, the founder of a prop firm come, you know what, you passed the two-step, made it in 5%, let me pay you? No, they don't. Yeah. So obviously that would differ, and obviously I would potentially trade New York. I don't always, because New York is just lower probability for me, but more time that's the rules I follow.
I think I rate it because I think I still have to do things to keep on top of my discipline. There were a lot of times where, like, for example, I'll be very open about the fact I blew an account last week.
Yeah.
And I'm not bothered about it because I've had payouts from it, so it doesn't bother me. But I still have those moments of time where I'm not fully disciplined. If there's other things going on in my life and my head's just not quite in it, I will make stupid mistakes with trading. So having my routine of discipline kind of helps me keep in check with my trading. And when I am not so great on that, I'm not so great in trading.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone has those like psychology lapses every other month or every couple months. No one's gonna have from January to December 31st they're trading where they make 0 psychology mistakes, 0 blown accounts because of them not following their rules or whatever. Everyone will have that, but I feel like if you, like, for example, you blew an account, if you can walk away from that, get another evaluation and follow the same rules for a set period of time, like, you're good to go, because you know that, like, as long as you keep trading, obviously, your risk management, eventually, it's not a matter of how or when or whatever, you're going to eventually pass that account. So yeah, you're obviously, for me, when I make a psychology mistake, I try to walk away from that as quick as possible. And the reason I say that is because the less I can think about it, the less of a downward spiral I'm creating for myself. So if I blow an account, I'll stop for the week, not for the day, not for the next day, for the week. If it's a Monday, we're done for the week, and I'll come back the next week. You're following the same rules. You're leaving what happened in the past, and you're looking to kind of pattern the future up. Because if you blow an account today and you trade an account tomorrow, you're probably going to blow that. And that's going to lead on the negativity into the week after. That's going to lead on to you losing more money. So just come back the next week, follow the same rules. And again, whether it's in evaluations or a funded live account, you're still making demo profits. So just make your 8 and 5% and make your demo profits and then get paid out from it. So.
I agree. And I think that is a good point. I feel like I've been speaking about this a lot recently, but the whole thing of like consistency when it comes to trading, how do you measure your consistent profitability? Like, is it like weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly? Like, how do you measure that?
Yeah, so again, measuring profits isn't like something to do on a weekly basis. You can have weekly reviews on how your trading performance is. So from, let's say, the start of the month to the end of the month, how your trading went. But having where you like genuinely sit down maybe with your accountant or someone and measuring how much you have made from the markets is like something I'd probably do like every 6 months or a year.
Okay.
So it's like obviously on the bigger time frame, on the bigger time scale, and like how the S&P 500 and all these, you know, the Wall Street and things like that measure profits, it's over 5 years. So it's like you can lose for 3 years and 2 years of profits just wipes them all out.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I'd want to do it. But I feel like with prop firms and you're getting paid out every 2 weeks, like your performance is measured every 2 weeks when it kind of shouldn't be. So it's just over the year, and it's like you can blow multiple accounts, get new accounts, and it's like, let's say you have 300k funding. At the start of the year, you have no funding, and you then obviously scale to 300k. What if the first month you made 8 and 5%, but those were demo profits? Then February you start trading, you know, the funded live. Do you then count the 8 and 5%, or do you not? Because a lot of traders, they talk about when you're funded, but what about the traders that aren't funded? Do you count the 8 and 5%? Majority of people, you don't. So moving forward after that, from February, then all the profits you make, then you start to count. And then what if you blow those accounts by March or April? You shouldn't, but let's say you do. Then you start again and you have to make 8 and 5%. So it's like every time you lose an account, you have to make 8 and 5% to get funded again. So I can measure it over the year.
I think that is the perfect answer. I think, like you say, like people in the prop firm industry are measured on that bi-weekly payout, when I think that is so wrong. And this is why I keep talking about the consistency element of trading, and how people are kind of sold a dream of being like consistently profitable on a month by month basis. I think there is probably like 1% of even the 1% of profitable traders who can make consistent profits. And there's actually only one person, maybe two people that I can think of off the top of my head, who I can think of, and I've spoken to hundreds of traders over the years, and there is only two people that come to mind when I think of actually being consistently profitable on a month by month basis. I think attaining something like that is so hard, and I don't believe people should be judged on their monthly profitability, because as we spoke about before, there are so many different factors that go into trading that it's so hard to stay consistent every single month, going through different cycles, going through different psychological difficulties. There are so many different things that go into it. But if you're measuring on, like you say, like a yearly basis, if you get to the end of the year and you then you work out whether you're profitable or not. And when I talk about profitability in prop firms, I'm talking about your payouts versus how much you've paid for challenges. As long as you are in profit for that year, then you're profitable. But I think a lot of people forget the fact that, even taking it back to the gurus that post like massive payouts, I think people forget about the fact that they've probably blown 20 challenges before getting that huge payout. So they're probably just sitting at a break even on profitability. But because they're posting it on social media, they look like the guy, like they look like they're smashing it.
Yeah, again, it's the same when a trader maybe weren't as profitable and then they go ahead and make some payouts and then they continue to make payouts and are profitable. But it's very easy to, you know, lose accounts, lose challenges. So like over the year, if you measure how much you've invested versus how much you've got back, and it's like, even if you're in drawdown, there's only a certain amount of drawdown you can go in when you're trading with prop firms. For example, if you're a really, really good trader that consistently follows their rules and does everything right, you shouldn't be losing tens of thousands. But again, if you're someone that's young, maybe my age, maybe, you know, a little bit older, and, you know, you are just starting out and you're doing the dumb shit and you're, you know, losing the accounts unnecessarily, then it can add up very quickly.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But yeah, challenges as well. I've said this before multiple times. I don't treat them as funded accounts. So when it's a challenge account, then at the start of London session for the first 15 minutes, it's like I don't follow that. It's like I'm trading London session until I get set up, so maybe till about 9 or 10, and then I'd again, like I said, trade start of New York, for example, 1 to 2 or 3, just because we want to pass challenges as traders quickly. Not that we need to, but again, we're traders and we want to make profits, and, you know,
you just want to get that out of the way.
We want to keep our business sustainable. So it's like, I feel like risking 2% or 3% on challenges, it's like, it's not that deep, because it's like, if you do this for a living, you can't be on an evaluation for 2 months. So it's like, let's say you trade full time, I trade full time, whatever, and you sit on evaluations for 2 months, 3 months. maybe if you had the job, you can do that. But it's like when you do it full time, you'd kind of like, you know how to trade, yeah. Just get it over and done with. That's what we want to do realistically. So, and it's like we can do this full time because we know if we don't get paid in 2 months, we can still do it full time, right? So it's like we kind of don't have the stress of trying to rush it, but we want to get it out.
You just want to get it done,
care.
I think that's a really good point. I think people will go on social media and you have like these professional traders that come from trading floors and they'll say like, you know, risk 0.5 to 1%, take it slow, like don't rush it, don't gamble it. But at the end of the day, a challenge phase is boring and we just want to get it out of the way. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're blowing like 2-3 challenges in a row, then there's probably something that you need to look at a bit deeper. But I think just getting past that challenge phase as quick as you can, like there is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Again, that's why getting the biggest account size, for example, 200k. So when you do pass it quickly, then obviously you can make a lot more. But again, it's like if you have the aggressive approach on challenges like we do, for example, then you can obviously blow 2-3 of them. And it's like if each 200k costs what, 700, then it's like you're losing 1% of a 200k account.
Yeah.
So it's like looking at it from a standpoint of 3 losses is a 1% loss on a 200k is what probably allows, let's say, me and you and some of the aggressive traders to kind of lose that and be okay with it. Because we lose 3 accounts, it's 1% of a 200k funded. So when we get funded 200k, it's 1%, we make it back, we're done.
Yeah.
So it's like we're just aggressive, we do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like you get molded into this conservative field. Like Daniel, for example, he is so conservative. He'll make a 1%, 2% payout. He'll sit for the payout. He'll, wait for the whole month.
I do that when I'm funded. I will make I always try to do between 2 to 5%. If I can make 2 to 5%, I will just try and wait for that payout because I think getting a payout is a lot better than trying to make more and then losing what you've made and then you're sat and you're thinking, why didn't I just wait and withdraw that? Do you know what I mean? So doing that does make a lot of sense to me once you're funded.
But at the same time, with some of these firms, you've got minimum trading days, you've got minimum days for waiting for the contract, you've got, payout, you have to wait X amount of time for the payouts, and then once you get the payout, you have to wait X amount of days to kind of unlock the account again. So let's say equity edge have no, limits to how many days you trade. You can, if you pass phase 1 today, you'll get phase 2 today, or unless it's a one-step account. But obviously for the contracts, every firm has that. It's just because there's thousands of accounts. But let's say 3 days for phase 1, 3 days for phase 2, that's 2 weeks. 5 days for contract, that's another week. 5 days for payout, that's another week. And then 2-3 business days to unlock your account. That's like 1.5 full months. Yeah. So it's looking at it like that. When you have the opportunity to trade till your payout day, would you continue to trade or would you still wait? Let's say you have a 1% payout on a 100k account, which is obviously a 1k payout. You didn't keep $800, or let's say it's 2%. You keep 1.6. Would you then still, after getting funded and having waited, almost a month because it's 5 contract days, 1 week for phase 1, 1 week for phase 2, would you still sit and wait for the payout after you got the account? And obviously make the payout, then you still have to wait another 2 weeks and another week for the payout. Would you still sit and wait on it, or would you kind of use the opportunity to continue to trade?
I think for me, it depends on where I'm at with my payout. If it's my first payout, best believe I'm going to wait and I'm going to take that profit. And that is just from experience, because I've noticed that I will get into 1-2% profit. I'll tell myself, yep, I'm going to wait. Next morning I'll wake up, I'm like, let me just look what the charts are giving me. And I'll get in a position, and because I'm so headstrong in the fact that I've got this buffer, I will take a stupid position. 9 times out of 10, I'm now going to be in drawdown. Now my psychology's fucked, because now I'm thinking, if I'd have just waited and did what I said I was going to do, I would have been getting paid in 2 weeks. But now I'm going to end up over trading, because now I'm trying to get back to where I was at. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to go into drawdown, and then I'm just going to fuck it up. Yeah.
But 80-20 principle once again, so it's like just, getting the payout and waiting for the payout. And I feel like that's the more conservative approach in the long term. Yeah. But I feel like at the same time, what we should be doing as traders is probably just scaling capital, because if we have let's say five 200Ks and you have 1 200K, make 1%, cool, wait for payout, make 1%. And it's like after you've made 1% 5 times, at that point you're sick of trading already. Yeah. Rather than having to make 50% on, let's say, a 10K account to make a 5k payout or
Long.
having so it's like some people have to do that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's long. While we're on the topic of like talking about prop firms, minimum trading days and all that kind of stuff, what has your experience been like with Equity Edge so far?
So when I started trading with Equity Edge in around March and April, they had literally quickest everything. So I would obviously pass my phase 1 on a Thursday. I got the account, passed my phase 2 on a Thursday. So this was a 10k account. Now I was risking 4-5%, and it's a 10k account. Every trader knows, you know yourself, if you get a 10k account that you didn't pay for, you're gonna margin that. So that's what we did. On 2 good positions, it was I think GU shorts and Nasdaq shorts as well. But 2 good positions, both did over 30 pips on GU and 100 pips on Nasdaq to pass obviously the phase 1s and then make the payout. So I passed phase 1 on Thursday, passed phase 2 on Friday, and then got my funded account the Monday after. So cool, passed the account on Thursday, passed another phase on obviously Friday. Tristan then called me up, was like, yo bro, how's it going, etc. The accounts, market conditions, MT5. And then obviously talked about that. Then I made a payout, and obviously they had the weekly payouts. So within 2 weeks of receiving the account, I obviously passed phase 1, passed phase 2, got my contract, got my account, and then obviously got my payout. But a lot of people say, well, that's because you know Tris, for example. That's because you know Berkay. Well, it's
golden boy.
Exactly. Well, it's not really that, because when I went to the office earlier, Tris was sat there talking to like customers. It's like on the screen, he had up like a list of people that had like negative reviews, for example. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but on the screen he had, you can cut that bit out. But on the screen he had like a list of people who haven't had great experiences with Equity Edge, and obviously had their phone numbers, etc. And he sat there calling them, like, you've got the CEO sat there calling customer for customer, like, what are your problems and things like that. Like, again, I'm not saying...
How can we resolve this?
Yeah, and it's like you have the CEO doing that, and he's not doing it just for me or you if we ever have an issue of where our payouts are delayed. He's doing it for everyone. So it's like everyone with an experience that isn't great, he is trying to make the experiences better, and obviously explaining to them that, cool, if you're waiting 5 days for contract, that's because there's thousands and thousands. And obviously Equity launched in around February, and they've had over 90,000 traders, and trying to issue, let's say, 3,000 contracts in 1 week, meaning you have to issue 300, 400 days.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to take time when you have like a backlog of 10,000 that you have to do in 1 week, and you've got a certain amount of people in the office, and then etc. So generally, it's been great, and a lot of people that obviously I know as traders, they've found their experiences great as well. So for the people that haven't, you just got to sit and be patient, and sometimes things are meant to go wrong. That means you have to sit and wait for things. But it's like in a standard job, let's say the business delays something. So let's say you're the business, I'm the employee, you give me a task, but I did my work, I never got paid on time, but you kind of benefited from it. Are you going to then say, well, next month I'll add on to your salary? You're not. You're just going to be like, deal with it. I'll give you more time to do it. You can have a day off here and there. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to shut up.
Yeah.
So it's like in the real world, you would have to wait, and the business won't do anything for you. So why is it every time, like Equity, because they have a backlog of 10,000 traders where they're processing payouts, contracts, KYCs, why do they then have to give you more money or more accounts or things like that? Why can't you just like deal with it? Because that's what everyone has to deal with in day-to-day life. And a lot of people aren't traders, for example. They don't make the 2,000-3,000 you make on one trade and then sit, watch movies all day, etc. Like a lot of people go work for 30 days and then they get paid. So it's like you should just like relax a bit in it. Cut that bit out. Equity Edge has also paid out, I believe it's like 2.5 mil.
Something like that.
Yeah,
now,
and they've rejected like less than 0.01% of that, which is obviously 25k. They've rejected less than that. Yeah. And it's like everyone that's been rejected that has come to my or your DMs, it's like, bro, I traded news, but they denied my payout. You traded news. Or bro, I used my brother's KYC, and it's like, why are they not giving me my account? And it's like majority of them are young hustlers that are 15, 16, that are learning how to trade, but have learned a lot quicker than we did, which is why they're trading at 16 using their parents' KYC. So fair play to you, you're doing the right thing, but you're not meant to be trading, because like when Equity was on MT5, they would get their broker pulled because there's kids trading on the MT5. So
Yeah, I agree. I think it's funny that you say that as well, because I feel like you probably get a lot of DMs from people as well, like tell them like to sort my account and blah 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 blah. And a lot of times I do try to help people, and I'll go to customer support, and I'll be like, oh, this guy's got this issue, and they'll be like, yeah, because he's doing so and so, and I'm like, So you've just wasted my time, you've wasted the firm's time. Like, it is a lot of that I feel like
the thing is,
like, causing noise.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, it's when people hit you up, yeah, and then they think that me and you are paid for helping them. And it's the fact that, like, when they give me their account number, their account number is XYZ, and they're like, help me with it, they expect you. They're always messaging you, hi, is my account sorted out? Hi, is this? Like, I respect you, obviously, you know, hitting me up, asking me for help, and I'm trying to help you out. But, like, when you're constantly messaging me, like, do I owe you money, bro?
Yeah.
I don't. Please, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not everyone, because majority of the time they message you once, and then obviously I'll be like, remind me by this time. If it's not been sorted out, I'll go speak to them. But it's like, when you told them that if it's not sorted by the end of the day, message me, then at 1 o'clock they'll message you at 2 o'clock, at 3 o'clock. Like, just go away.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, they've got thousands of things to do, and it's like, why would they then prioritize your account? Like, it's in order, just relax.
Yeah. So obviously not every 18-year-old is going to get to sit with the CEO of the platform that they're trading for. What is it like being in the office and like seeing Tris and Berkay like doing what they do and the rest of the office staff?
Yeah, so it's like, as I said, Equity Edge obviously do process payouts and contracts and things like that. But every time I've walked into the office, it's like they're always constantly working. Like when we've been to trader events, when we've been to dinners, like they're constantly sat on their phone, you know, like messaging away, you know, sorting things out. But it's like, what I've noticed about them is that they're always working, they're always on the phone, they're always messaging, they're always on the computer sorting something out. But yeah, it's honestly like, it's so great to have this at 18, because it's like, I know that every time I see them, I'm not working hard enough. It's like every time I'm like they do so much work, and it's like, as traders, we just sit, we trade,
we chill.
For the rest of the day, we do nothing.
Yeah,
and it's because obviously I don't have a business to like look after yet, so I don't have to manage people, manage communities, things like that. But when I do, then I'm going to learn the experiences from them, because every time I'm walking in, obviously sit, say hello, etc. But they're always constantly working, so laser focused.
They are always constantly working. Even like when we did the shootout day, when we went to, I think we were with food, both of them were still on the phone sorting out payouts and just sorting different things out of the business. And it's like, bro, just chill.
Berkay brought his Mac to the V class. We were sat in there for about an hour, and like we were going to that restaurant, but he was just sat on his laptop, always working, and then randomly he'd ask you, so what are you saying? How are you doing? But other than that, they're just constantly doing things.
Yeah, they do work really hard. And I always say, after seeing the way these lot work, you could not pay me enough to run a prop firm, because
I would.
It's just,
I think I'd enjoy that.
Really, the way I see these lot work, I don't think I have it in me. Like, it's constant. It is constant. I don't know how they sleep.
They probably don't.
Wow. Thank you for coming on and being our youngest guest.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, we're not really going to get a younger guest because you're 18 and you have to be 18 to trade. So
thank you for having me.
Big up for being the youngest trader on this podcast.
I appreciate it.
And as always, guys, make sure you come back next week for another episode of Trader Talk.